Morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Well, today, Monday, start of the week. I haven't been to the gym yet. Been looking through my Facebook at just catching up, really. I like to catch up on what's going on in the world and what's happening. So I thought I'd catch up. This morning, I found myself looking at a web page or footage on a Facebook page of Anna Breeze. I just want to share my thoughts on protests. All right. Having watched the footage on Anna Breeze's Facebook page of this weekend's protest in London, thought I would comment. Just because the UK population tries to make UK government accountable for their decisions, actions, does not make them anti. Seems to be used a lot, anybody who protests. UK population, again, has taken to demonstrate in Trafalgar Square, London. Thousands of protesters tried to get answers to questions or truths from the UK government regards COVID-19 on the weekend. Media outlets brand the protesters as conspiracy theorists, anti-vaccination, anti-lockdown. All right. Actually, these people are just concerned UK citizens, voters seeking answers from the UK government. Veterans have protested about the lack of support for veterans and serving personnel regards mental health, continued prosecution cases, the hounding of them individuals. Veterans living on the streets, homelessness and lack of support for families who have lost their loved ones. But the concern is members of Parliament ignore any form of correspondence. Hence why UK citizens are forced to demonstrate and protest on the streets because we feel unseen and unheard. It seems the UK population have had enough of these lies, and the elected members of the House of Commons are just ignoring the people who voted them into office, which is really saddening. All right. Again, protesters this weekend face alienation and discrimination by the national tabloid. It seems this is a game the press used today against anyone who speaks out or tries to hold members of Parliament or government to accountability. They call anti-fascist, or conspiracists, far right or far left. There have been a number of peaceful protests across the UK, but they seem to escalate in violence or dismay. This is mainly due to the law enforcement intervention and the way these protesters are portrayed in the press and social media. Look, veterans are portrayed as anti-fascist, far right, while BLM and Antifa are far left or terrorists. Now we have the COVID-19 protesters deemed as conspiracy theorists, anti-lockdown, anti-vaccination, and they're just seeking answers to questions. Having attended a veterans protest in Nottingham and witnessing the way police on the ground were instructed to operate by the hierarchy, which was sitting in the control room, it is no surprise these protests are turning the way they are at the moment, all right? Emotions on both sides are in overdrive. There is no need for the overzealous manhandling of protesters. I've been watching videos today of a protester who was manhandled and then had to seek first aid treatment. They cuffed him and then they uncuffed him. Over the last month, we've shown footage, all right, of Dover protests. Little veteran was manhandled, small guy in his 50s manhandled. There's been no response from the police. We saw the protester up north, I think it was Petersburg, where the protester was ignored by two police officers when a woman was screaming for help for the protester in distress. Later, the video showed the gentleman who's in distress having CPR administered by a police officer. You know, lack of care there. UK population emotions are high because of all the uncertainty The government seem to be lost and nobody seems to be able to come forth and answer questions or tell the truth. That's all we're asking, is say it as it is. There is no connection coming from number 10. There's nothing coming out from there. So the only certainty we have is the uncertainty, which is wild. People feel unheard or unseen. They feel they're treated as stupid and simple by our own government. Boris Johnson, look, you were elected as a Prime Minister of the UK to lead the UK. And be open and honest. People give you their vote because they thought you could take us out of Brexit and lead this country to greater things. So do us all a favour, grow a pair. All right? Start leading from the front. Speak to your nation because it is falling apart. People are out there protesting because they feel unseen and unheard. We all vote. I know people who voted you. You were the only hope. And at the end of the day, sometimes you're a buffoon, and people look at you as a buffoon, but they give you their vote because they thought you could come forward and step up to the plate. But it seems to be the House of Commons is just a playground for people immature. You're fighting in the House amongst parties. There's no need for it. You've got this COVID going on at the moment, and if you look at the House of Commons on TV, which I do regularly, you have the 2 meter rule in there. You have the distancing, social distancing rule in there. But if you look past the actual house and you look into the corridors, it's amazing how many people are not doing the social distancing. So we need you to be truthful, because in them corridors, I was watching a debate the other day, and the people around the speaker's chair weren't social distancing, and the cameras actually done something they shouldn't have done, which they zoomed into a corridor, and that corridor was full of MPs and people. All right. So, and even there was a photo of 2 MPs standing close to each other, hand on his back. There's no social distancing outside that chamber. So, stop trying to treat us simple and stupid, because the country's had enough. I've reached out to many MPs. We've wrote formal letters as veterans. All right. You call us far right, you call us anti-fascist. And far from it, I don't know what far right and far left is. All right. Now you're calling people conspiracy theorists. People are actually questioning what's going on, and because you're not giving answers, and they're looking at what's going on around the world. We know the economy is. We know we're in debt. We know we're in depression. If you can't deal with what's going on now, how are you going to deal with this depression we've got and all the money we are owing, the debts? We make no bones about it. We know we're in a tight position, but the more you bury your head and not listen to the people who voted you in, the more it's going to get worse. So please come to the table. People are asking questions about various topics around the country. COVID is just the surface on the surface. We're just scratching the surface. We got CMS, Child Support Agency. We got suicides ongoing. Mental health is becoming a major issue. Forget COVID. COVID is nothing compared to the mental health. There's 6 human behaviors that people need to be fulfilled, and that's certainty is number 1. Uncertainty, we've got plenty of that. Connection and love, and significance. People need them 4 human needs, and then the other 2 is growth and contribution. So they're spiritual. So you need to be touching 4 main elements of people's needs. And at the moment, you're not. All right, because people haven't got certainty. They've got loads of uncertainty. They've got no connection coming from you lot in the political world. All right, connection and love, and they don't feel significant because they feel unheard and unseen. Every time people ask questions, social media and the national tabloid discriminate and alienate. We've got so much we need to sort out. So, yeah, Annie, I can see you on. It's disgraceful the way normal people are treated who cause no problems or damage to get answers from the government. They need to remove from the office and taken to court on many charges. Annie, I don't disagree with you. And, they're not answering us, so the questions need to be asked. The tests are not and cannot test for the virus. That is the fact. The government taking this, a barefaced lying. The country, rule of fear, destroy the British and our country. Yeah, our country is being destroyed. We were the United Kingdom. We're not united anymore. They're dividing us. There's divide going on. Divide and conquer comes to mind when I think about it. And what are they trying to conquer? The elite, as we would call them, the wealth, seem to get wealthier, and the poor are getting poorer. All right, and this is what's happening at the moment. But what's going on is a currency war. There's a massive trade and currency war going on between China and America. The US dollar. All right, so you got the UK, Western world with the US dollar. Then you got the Russians and the Chinese, even Iran. You got Saudi Arabia in with the US. All right, there's so much going on there behind the curtain. It's a bit like the Wizard of Oz. You got a man behind the curtain pulling all the strings. All right, and that's no conspiracy. That's what's going on behind everything. So COVID. I don't need to speak about COVID because I'm already participating in COVID. I do the testing and I've got my own opinions on it. All right, and I'm not going to make them public at the moment because there's enough out there. All right, but what's going on is the government needs to come to the forefront and they need to actually talk and be truthful and answer the people who are asking questions. I've been asking questions about veterans because if we can get the veterans community right, we can then take it out and put it into the bigger community. We start small and grow bigger. All right. But the nation needs to come together at this point. We all need to come together. We've all got messages. Black Lives Matter, anti-fascist, which are classed as left wing, right wing of the veterans. They're classing veterans as right wing and patriot groups. Everybody's got messages. Everybody needs to come around the table. Representatives need to come around the table and agree, because at this moment in time we're getting ripped apart. The UK, United Kingdom, we're not united. We've been divided. So only when we all come together and we all fight for each other's causes can we actually make impact. All right. The police, we can't blame the police. The police are just following their orders. All right. When you stand on them front lines, it hurts you inside, but you've got to follow the orders, because if you don't, you can face the wrath of the government. All right. Them individuals in uniform, yeah, they are overzealous. Their emotions are running wild. They're following orders. And I agree that they need to back off a little bit and stop being overzealous. But you will have some in the crowd which thrive on that type of action. All right, and they want it, and they've been paid to do it, so they think they're above the law. So yeah, there's no accountability at the moment in the government. And the protests, I'd like to think there was accountability. I was talking to a police officer the other day, a sergeant, and he told me sometimes he needs to calm his guys down, especially when they get the kit on. They get the riot gear on and they're pumped, they're ready to go, their emotions are up, because they've got to step up to that next level to do the job they're going to do. So and the sergeant said I've got to bring them down. We can't comment because we're not in their shoes. So, as I always say to people, don't judge somebody if you haven't been in the situation. You're not in the situation. All right. And that's all I've got to say today. I love you all. All right. Remember, life is for living. All right. And try not to judge people. All right. And watch your expectations, because they're easy to put. Yeah. BLM and Antifa are paid by elite to cause divide. Yeah, some probably are, all right, and I can't judge that because I haven't got the truth, all right. But at the end of the day, there is divide in the country. We're getting split more today than we ever have been. The armed forces are getting cut. We haven't got an army. We haven't got a British army anymore. It's going to Brussels. But how is it going to Brussels when we voted for Brexit? That's the biggest question. So you've just got to look at some of the things that are going on the outside. Black Lives Matter and Antifa. The veterans are shouting out because we've got Commonwealth soldiers who served in Afghanistan and Iraq, followed the orders of the government. They left their homeland, their home countries. I've got a very good friend from St. Martin, and he's struggling to get citizenship in the UK. He spent 12 years in the British Army, and he struggled to get citizenship, which is wrong. As soon as they join the army, the British Army, after a period of time, they should be given a passport straight away, the UK passport straight away. They're not. All right, we got veterans living on the streets, and it's just all wrong. It's all wrong. All right, the way people are treated, discriminated, alienated are wrong. And I do support the BLM. All right, a lot of veterans support a lot of these causes, anti-fascist. Yeah, we support that as well. We're not fascists, all right. We far from it. We go to countries to bring. Well, we get told we're going to countries to make them better, but then the governments remove us before we make them better. So, that breaks our heart as well. I went to Afghanistan back in 2008. Okay, I was driving. I went out on I called it an holiday, but it weren't. I went out with a very close family from Pakistan who had a business there, and I started crying in the back of the car, all right, in the 4x4. And the reason I was crying was watching the kids and the women with babies sitting in the middle of the road, begging. And it took me back to a place in life that we went to Bosnia. We went to Bosnia in 94 onwards, and we went there to make the country better, but we never made the country better. We never go to places to make the countries better. They're always worse when we always leave them, and they're always worse. Hence why people leave them countries and come to our countries. So that's where I am in life. Is we went there as ordered by which is our government is becoming a dictatorship. So they take us to places and we think we're doing best, but we're not. All right. And hence why the immigration is coming over here. They think the UK is paved with gold, which is not. I've lived amongst a lot of people around the world in different hostile countries, and a lot of them have got ambitions of coming to the UK, all right, and that's fact. So, because they know the UK, they got the NHS, but although the NHS today is not what it used to be, all right, we've still got some brilliant staff in there. Look what they've done on COVID. But once COVID is over, NHS staff will be forgotten, like the police are forgotten. The numbers in the police were taken away. The government will cut cap wages. They will cap wages. They will cut manpower, and they'll cut, they'll cut whatever they can. And it'll be the frontline services first: fire brigade, ambulance, prison service, social workers. They'll never cut their own wages. They get 84,000 basic salary, and I believe they get a ministerial wage as well on top. So the wages they're taking, and then the expenses. Once they get into power, Johnny Mercer actually said he went into power to change the mental health and create a better mental health for the veterans. We've lost veterans to suicide this year. All right, suicide's massive this year actually across the UK. It's the worst it's been in 20 years. A lot of it's to do with life struggles and people not understanding or noticing their emotions and their thoughts, and they're in a conversations where they put you down and your emotions go everywhere. So that's where we are. All right. I've said enough now. I'm going to go to the gym because I need a good swim. I need to go and have a mile swim. So everybody, take care today. All right. Uncle Fester, I may do a video later. All right. But I'm in a good place. I'm in a very good place. And although there's a lot of uncertainty, I'm trying to create my own certainty. All right. Love you all. Everybody take care. All right. And remember, we all need to come together and unite, because at this moment in time we're having divide and conquer. And don't judge people. Don't judge people because they've got their opinions on what's going on. Just accept it. All right. They may be right. So, all right. Love you all. Take care. Goodbye.